Have you ever gotten a fish from the carnival and realized that it's dead within 2 weeks? There's a reason why, and it's probably because it's in this setup. Let's start from the beginning. Before these fish even arrive at the carnivals that you win them from, they are kept in horrible living conditions. Most of the time, they're kept by the thousands in little tubs that don't have their water changed and barely get fed. Now, if you really think about it, these fish, they're already coming to you sick or unhealthy or malnourished. So whenever you win one, you really can't tell, but most of the time, they will die. Another reason why they might die is the setup they give you. What the setup they give you normally contains a plastic container and food. They tell you to put in water in the setup, but that's about it. Also, when these fish are put in their bags, they can only last in a bag for 7 or 9 hours. Now when you think about it, if they're bagged up in the morning, by the time they get to you, these fish can't be in a bag much longer. So you gotta figure out a way to get a full setup quickly, and that puts a lot of stress on little kids and parents too. The setup you really need for a goldfish, which is a special type of fish that you may not really realize. Goldfish aren't just any normal fish. They actually require a decent setup. You need a tank with cycled water, you need a heater, you need to be able to do water changes, and you need food. And when I'm talking about a tank, I'm not talking about a little plastic container. I mean, if you have a baby goldfish, you need at least 5 gallons to start off. Most of the time, when you win these fish, if you were to ask the person that you won it from, how do I take care of this fish? They'll simply tell you to put some water in there from your sink, put the fish in there, and feed it once a day. This is completely wrong. You need to cycle water, you cannot use faucet water, and you need to constantly be cleaning out a large amount of their water from a big tank. Most of the time, these people, they don't really realize how to take care of these fish. Most of the time, their objective is to solely gain money from their customers and not to send you home with a happy and healthy fish that you can take care of for a long time. And that is the reason why we need to stop giving out fish as carnival gifts. Fish need to not be prizes at carnivals, and if that were to happen, we would solve a lot of problems. One of the problems is that most of the time, when these young kids get these fish, they automatically get attached to these fish and expect this fish to live for a long time and be their best friend. But most of the time, they die immediately. These games are targeted at kids, and most of the time, once kids win these fish, they don't know how to research and figure out how to take care of a pet. They'll ask a person or two how to do it and go off what they say. And that is how these fish always end up dead. Another reason why these fish should not be carnival prizes is because they are an invasive species and always end up in local ponds and rivers. Now you may be wondering, wait, how does a goldfish end up in a pond or river? Most of the time, people will get a fish and realize they don't want to take care of it, or they don't want to be responsible for it. So the first thing that comes to mind, instead of flushing it down the toilet, is to release it in the local pond or river. This happens a lot more than you might think, and it's really bad for the environment. When you do this, you're releasing an invasive fish, which is illegal, into an unnatural place where it was not originally born from. This will make it so the goldfish can outcompete the native fish and destroy wildlife. Goldfish love to uproot plants. When we let these goldfish reproduce, they will destroy entire habitats. Native fish will disappear, native bugs, algae, and all sorts of other stuff that require plants and these water spaces will be eliminated. Now you may also be thinking, well, why don't people just take care of the fish? It's a goldfish, right? Surely they only live 1, 2, maybe 3 years. But the world record goldfish has survived for 43 years. Imagine that. Imagine winning a fish from a carnival and it lasting 43 years. Most people, when they hear that, they will immediately run to a pond or river and release their fish. That is another reason why we do not want fish as carnival prizes. 43 years is a big number, and you may be wondering too, well, how big do they get? These goldfish, when released into ponds, can grow up to 10 pounds. That's a big fish. I hope this video informed you in making the right decision to not play carnival games that involve fish as prizes. Thank you very much for watching. Save the fish.